Hey everyone, welcome to Science with Shields. All October long, we have been doing Halloween themed science experiments. This one is another spooktacular experiment. Make sure you always have your safety goggles. And we are going to be using something that either you really love or you really hate, candy corn. We're going to be dissolving candy corn today. I want to show you, because we've already started this experiment, just to give you a little bit of a look at what to expect with this. So if we take a look over here, we've got some candy corn dissolving in 4 different solutions. At the front, we've got water, and you can kind of already see it's turning a different color here with the water because the candy corn is dissolving. We've got vinegar also starting to dissolve in the vinegar. We've got rubbing alcohol, where that candy corn still looking exactly how it started. And we also have it in oil, and it's also not changing in oil. Our oil's just a yellow color. That's why it's looking like that. But we are starting to see it dissolve in the water and vinegar. We're going to check back in with that here shortly, but I'm going to show you what to do first. So what you need is some candy corn, which I think is plentiful in the month of October. So we've got our candy corn. You're going to need vegetable oil for this experiment, some water, which I have poured out here, and you need some rubbing alcohol and vinegar. And then you need some plastic cups. The best is if they're clear. These are what we have here, is these white cups. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set out our 4 cups. Okay. And we're going to write on them. So the first one we're going to do is the water. So we're going to write water on the cup. And it's also fun when you do experiments like this, if you take a notebook, piece of paper, and write what you think is going to happen first before you actually do the experiment. Do you think it'll, dissolve in water better than vinegar? And you can kind of make those scientific guesses before you start. So we've got our water cup here. Then we're going to write vinegar on the next one. And hopefully my spelling is correct today, because I'm not the best speller in the world, but it's science. So here we go. We've got vinegar. And then we've got the rubbing alcohol, which I do not know how to spell, so we'll look at that. Alcohol. Okay. And then the last one we have is the oil. So we've got our 4 cups. So the first thing we want to do is pour each of the liquids into each one of these cups. So we're going to first put some water into our water cup. Pour that in there. And next is the vinegar. Get the vinegar going in there. Next is our alcohol, which we're using rubbing alcohol for this. And again, this may be something of note. Do not eat these candy corn after you do these experiments. These ones you definitely want to throw away. That alcohol in there. And then last but not least is our oil. Okay, so we've got all of this now into our cups. We've got the water, the vinegar, the alcohol, and the oil. And next you want to take your candy corn. I personally am not a fan of candy corn, so if we're giving it up for science, I think it's the right thing to do. And you're going to want to put 3 pieces into each one. So drop 1, 2, 3 into the water. And let's do the vinegar next. So I'm going to drop 3 pieces into the vinegar. 1, 2, and 3 candy corns go into the vinegar. Next is the rubbing alcohol. And we're going to drop 3 of those candy corns in. 1, 2, 3. And then into the oil. Now this one does take a little bit of time, so again, you can make those scientific guesses while you're waiting. And you want to check in on it maybe after 15 minutes, and then another and a half an hour, and then an hour, to see what's going on with these dissolving. It's going to be really cool. So if we want to take a look back at what we've already done here, and we can kind of see what's going on. So even more so is that candy corn really dissolving in the water. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of a close-up there. You can really see that candy corn is dissolving, the water is turning different colors. And then if we take a look at the vinegar, it's also dissolving, just not as much as the water, but we're still getting some of that dissolving. It's taking a little bit longer. The rubbing alcohol, This candy corn has not dissolved at all. It is still perfectly looking like candy corn, and it's the same for our oil. Again, remember the oil is yellow, but the candy corn pretty much still intact. So what we're noticing is it's the water and the vinegar that is dissolving the candy the quickest. So why is this happening? If we take a look at our graphic here, it explains a little bit what's going on. It depends on the molecules. So candy is made of sugar and coloring, and water has positive and negative molecules in it, which allows it to dissolve the candy. Now, alcohol and oil have a lot less of those positive and negative molecules in it. In fact, oil really has none. Alcohol has a little bit. So that candy is not going to dissolve in the oil, but it will dissolve a little bit in the alcohol. It's just going to take a lot longer than the water, and that is what's happening in this experiment. The water and the vinegar has the molecules to dissolve the candy. Really fun science experiment and a great way to get rid of all of that candy corn. Thanks for watching Science with Shields on WTAJ Plus. Catch new episodes Tuesdays at 10:30.